Should we wait another? Thank you. I'll just wait another minute because people are still coming in, if that's okay. Okay. Right. So yes, people are still coming in. Hi, Kelly. Thank you.
Hi.
And I am Rhea Shapiro, representing the Processwork Institute. And it is my pleasure. I'm very happy to introduce Dina Ostrovsky. And hello, Dina. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And of course, welcome to you all who are coming to hear about this very interesting and exciting subject. Curious about psychedelics. Process work as a powerful method for working with psychedelics. Just a little bit about Dina. Dina is a process work diplomate, and she's a graduate of the master's program of process work at the Processwork Institute in Portland, Oregon. Dina lives and works in New York, where she founded the Terapia School of Transformation, weaving together. Say again?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
this logo.
Yes. Can't quite see it all, but yes, it's right there. And let's see, the Terapia School of Transformation, weaving together psychology, creativity, and spiritual practice for transformation and personal growth. Since 2013, Dina has been leading both individual and group psychedelic integration sessions. And she has long studied and worked with traditional elders and healers in Latin America, especially connected with recovery and rehab around addiction. She is very interested in this topic, and she is a longtime practitioner. So thank you, Dina, for speaking with us today about how the methods, tools, and philosophy of process work are so useful in this exciting world of psychology and psychedelics coming together. Take it away, Dina.
Hey, friends. I'm very happy to see you here. Thank you for coming. Thank you. I see some of my students from my therapy school is here, and thank you guys that you came here and to support me. So before I start, I want to ask you about something. English, my second language, and this is a Russian accent. And I teach a lot in the Russian community of New York. So if you don't understand something, just ask me. I will repeat or slow down. So it's a challenge for me. And also before we start, I want to acknowledge very auspicious time we come together today. This is a time of transition of our beloved teacher, Arnold Mindell. And when I think about it, I think that, yes, it's a moment of grief and sadness, but also he left us with a big inheritance, a treasure, whole system on how to navigate in the worlds of personal and transpersonal realms. And I want to share my excitement about process work and psychedelics and share my ideas that process work could be an amazing navigating system to move and orient yourself in those realms. Also, before I start, I want to bring here other teachers which helped me to learn more about psychedelics. This is Renaud Auskera, from Colombia. Taita Juan Batista, and another teacher, my teacher, ayahuasca teacher from Peru. I can't even share his name. He's Dr. R. We still have very gray area for ayahuasca. And also my Tibetan teacher, Namkhan Rinpoche, and Tuva Shaman, Nikolai Orjak. So, and other teachers who shared with me a lot of knowledge. So I want to talk first a little bit more about my experience with psychedelics and process work. Of course, here I'm a diplomat, and for last 10 years, I work in New York. I run a school which devoted actually career, business, success, money. So it's a career school, but based on process work. Of course, people come with different questions, self-development question, health question, relationship question. But we look around, we look in the point of career. And first I started this school without any involvement of psychedelic, just process work education and other methods, family constellation, art therapy, and more. But I do have interesting experience with ayahuasca. Why? 2013, 16, I was involved in a project which was running in Malinalco, Mexico. It was addiction rehab. And this addiction rehab included some Western methods, but also ayahuasca and ibogaine. And I wasn't full-time there. When they have 4 months program, and every 4 months program, they run a big retreat. They invited clients' parents and other people, and the teacher, Taita Juan Batista, was coming to run big ayahuasca ceremony. And that was a moment they called me from New York, and I came to Mexico, and I worked there as a therapist, basically integration therapist. I prepared people for ceremony, and I helped them to integrate the experience after the ceremony. It was interesting. Sometimes I work with people, work with family system, and ayahuasca experience. Oh, it's amazing. And also the community I work with in New York, this community is interested in development, in personal development, and psychedelic is a part of their practices. Some of them use psychedelic as a part of practices. So people were coming to me with difficult trips. And also I used a lot of process work. That's where my experience came from. And 5 years ago, I had my own personal crisis. It happened after I had a pretty tough surgery, implant surgery, came home after surgery, couldn't recover, had a lot of pain, had my face swollen. This was the moment I needed to start my seminar season. And I look at myself in the mirror like, I cannot teach. I can't teach this way. I just don't have enough power to teach. And that's where I did process work on myself at this moment. And I found a lot of, I found this big destroyer figure which wants to crush me. A lot of powerful figure. I practiced it, I danced it, but couldn't step over. So that was the moment I brought mushrooms, psilocybin, and process work together. I ate psilocybin and process work myself under mushrooms. And I danced this destroyer figure. It grew up an archetypical, huge goddess Kali, really angry goddess Kali figure, which danced and crushed everything. Me, myself, a house, a town, earth, everything. And it was fun. It was fun. I laughed and danced and laughed. and destroyed my reality. And when it was a good journey, and 2 days after the journey, I was running was hiking my usual hike in the mountain, feeling healthy, energetic. My face was fine. It was very fast and deep healing. And I like, interesting. Also, I start to think I remember this was the moment when I start to think, what is different? What was different? I was process working myself. Yes. I had experience with psychedelic, a lot of experience with ayahuasca before. What brought together I brought together this process work and psilocybin. It gave such a great effect of healing. And I thought, yes, first, I went into deeply in secondary process and also stay there for 2 hours. If I would when I was doing process work, I stay there like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Here I stayed 2 hours. It went down to my nervous system, cells, and transformed something deeply. So that was the point when I decided to experiment and brought some of optional psilocybin ceremonies into my school environment. And since that, I have a lot of practice. And right now, we are in the gray, psychedelics, psilocybin at least, are legalized in Oregon and in Colorado, and we are waiting for the same action in New York. And slowly I develop my practice, of course, waiting for legalization to start maybe facilitator trainings. So that's my situation right now. So what did I learn about process work and psychedelics through these years? Let's first talk about practical experience, and maybe then I bring a lot of my philosophy. What do you think? Why process work could be so important? Practice. Actually, I use process work in all stages of ayahuasca ceremony. And yes, I call it not a journey, not a session. I call it ceremony because I do have some shamanic training, and I kind of approach it as a ceremony, as a sacred action. But ceremony doesn't start in this moment when person actually drinks the substance, right? Ceremony starts when we have a first contact with a client or with a group. And first, we should establish? We should establish trust, safety, and ethic. This is very important. It's not a safe method. It's a strong method, and many things can happen during the ceremony. So process work is very helpful. When I talk to client to Zoom, sometimes I just talk, but in many cases, I suggest to do a small, light process work exercise. And like I already can envision the process of a client, what they going to, how they work with trance states, right? Some people are more free with transpersonal states. Some people are very close them and afraid of them and controlling. So, and some people you say them, you can journey, and then where do you go? Stop. So this doing a small process work style exercise helps even in the first meeting. And then we talk about intention. Everybody talk about intention, most of the people, before doing some serious work. And also I do intentions. I do it on Zoom, and I do intention session before the ceremony. And that's where I use process work method. I use high and low dream, right? What they envision, what they can get from ceremony, what people ask for. Maybe I'll mention what people ask for later. they envision is a high dream, and what they don't like is a low dream. So we do this high dream, low dream work. And in many cases, when the work is successful, we create a dance. We create a dance for high dream. We create a dance for low dream. Sometimes we create transition between high and low dream as a process work exercises, and we use this dance inside psychedelic session. What else do I use? Basically, I use classic process work methods. I use working with body symptom, many cases working with person who irritates you. So many people come, oh my gosh. Oh, I can maybe give example. Let me give example, story. A week ago, I had amazing, very deep ceremony. And I'll change some details, but can tell some flow, the flow. Let me in this story, I'll combine several requests. So a woman came to me and she tells, hey, I'm kind, I'm generous, and I'm a very conscious person, and I usually able to create right relationship with my family, with my husband, with my mother. I know where to set boundaries, I know where to push and where to pull. But at this moment, what happened to this woman, she went to Tibet and had pilgrimage and got a lot of new power. Actually, people come a lot with power integration is one of the topic. And she came with a new power, and what happened in her personal life, she started to attack her husband, she started to attack her mom. Yes, they maybe step on her territory, but that's what our close people who love me do. So she came to work on this in a psychedelic session. Why people like this go to psychedelic session, not to psychologists? It's an interesting question, right? Because this woman is a seminar leader herself. And many people who come to me, they don't want somebody else intelligence, they don't want somebody else leadership in their own life navigation. Is good or not, that's a situation. Many men come like they don't want to work with therapists, they want to decide for themselves. So okay, so what we do, we create this high dream of your high dream of being generous, kind, creating a safe atmosphere for yourself, for your family, and for your students in the seminars as well. And she danced very nice dance of being kind, generous, accepting, smooth. And then we dance a dance of power, dragon dance. The dragon is forceful and strong and happy to destroy the world just for fun, just to burn something. And dragon was very secondary for her, so it's very hard for a person who acquire new power. It's very hard to keep this power consciously, use it consciously. This is also known phenomenon. Then we did it before the session, setting intention for integration. And then before the session, I also do a lot of rituals to create a good atmosphere. If it's a small group session, people need to meet each other and see them and feel safe. And for this, I use some shamanic ceremony, but also, when I use shamanic ceremony, I think about it sometimes in process work perspective. like I like to do this gratitude ceremony when people sit around and do some action and say, oh, I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful that I have good house, and I'm grateful that I have money to come here, and I'm grateful to whatever, my body is still healthy, and I'm grateful for teachers. It's interesting when I think about it in process work perspective. I think, to create safety in a group, people actually share their ranks. And you know, when you sound your rank, when you talk about your rank, when you accept your rank, somehow people feel safer. Yeah, so it's like knowing process work and understanding process work. Many phenomena which happen in shamanic work could be explained. You have a vocabulary for this, you have a navigation for this, so it's good, it's helpful. And then we like enter the ceremony, and what happened to this woman, she danced a dragon. I helped her to dance a dragon. And then she danced her creative, kind woman. And then we start to kind of tame the dragon with this dance. So it was great ceremony for her. I can share some pictures, visuals. I have from this ceremony, and also I know one of the artists who drew most of the pictures here, Valentina Plishina, thank you. I use her amazing work. Okay, this is how people, this is many of my students. I draw their experience of psychedelics, and that's how usually people envision their psychedelic journey. All their bad things will clear, and they'll have happy, expanded, happy space. What happens? Many things happens, not necessarily this. Okay, let me show you some picture which was drawn after this particular ceremony. This is a dragon, the scary dragon turned into beautiful, colorful, creative movement. And I have also dragon as a power which
So that's
should be tamed.
integrating already, right? Is that
Yeah,
that
this is the second.
the
This is
integration?
yeah. I skipped this. Yeah, after ceremony we had drawing and integrating, but also this is like how sometimes people we have a lot of dragon images here. I don't know why. Maybe because my place calls Dragon Nest, but people like this image as a representation of scary power, which should be tamed and used as a creative thing. See, this is Valentina dragon pictures.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, this is taming power, basically. This is also working with power. Intense thing. This picture she called digesting the dragon. The dragon egg, probably. So
art,
integration.
Art is a big part of it.
Huh?
Art is a big part of working, of the work.
Of course, because what happens when we go into transpersonal realm using psychedelics or other methods, right? We sometimes meet intense energies. We meet archetypical energies. We meet some energies which are bigger than us. And in many cases, people come to me and say, oh, I've seen something out of this world. Many people come to me and say, I've seen aliens. Let me show you Valentina picture about aliens. But, you know, I use Valentina picture because she actually draw beautifully what other.
Uh-oh. Can't hear you, Dina. Did you mute? Yeah, I think you muted. Ah, great. No, wait, are you
Oh.
back?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Like I was scrolling
You
and
are.
muted myself. Thank you. Okay. So I'm telling that I use Valentina pictures because she's a good artist.
Did you just mute again? You muted again.
Okay, I understood what I did. I'm scrolling by hand, and when I'm scrolling by hand, I'm muting. I won't do it anymore.
It's not that
Mhm.
secret.
Nope. I wanted to find some kind of alien. Yeah, this one of the alien. So people talk about aliens as example. Not many of them. I've heard numbers of alien stories, not only from my clients. And these people who talk about aliens to me, they're not like people who fantasize in their life. They're programmers and engineers and pretty grounded in some area of life, but then they see something outside of their realm. And they come and say, oh, it was fantastic, or it was super scary. And then it's something beyond my power. What would I do with it? So what you do with it using process work, you do process work. You do process work, and then you find quite practical. You find quite practical things out of this alien picture. I can give you a couple of stories about it. It's an ayahuasca story. So one of story, this is my young student story. I have a young student, let's call him Max. He's not young anymore. He's grow up a little bit. But the time I started to work with him, he was 23. And I remember it was in the beginning, he came to me with his ayahuasca experience. He is a young athlete, so he was a champion of East Coast in some kind of jiu-jitsu, judo, I don't know, some kind of fight. So he had terrible ayahuasca session where he was laying down his face in the grass for 3 hours, and huge power, unfriendly power, was putting him into the ground. Then somebody helped him to get out of there. Then he come to me and said, what was it? Of course, yes, you can compare his sport experience, and they say, Vasquez say, yeah, he experienced a lot in the sport when he was pressed down to the ground, right? But then what it useful for? Why he had this experience? So what we did, of course, we did process work. First, I pressed him a little bit to the ground. Then I didn't allow him to press myself. He was too strong for that. So I gave him huge pillow. And he was pressing the pillow, and I was watching him and making sounds. And at some point, I see he's going into light altered state. And when he went into this light altered state, his movements start to change very slow, powerful, super slow, super powerful. Then I asked him to stand up and dance this energy. Huge power, a lot of slow movement. And he danced and danced, and asked, what do you imagine? He said, I'm a cosmic octopus. I have a Valentina picture with cosmic octopus somewhere. Let me do it for fun. I'll put a cosmic octopus here.
And while you're looking, I'm just thinking you're actually just working with signals and channels here.
Of course, I'm doing pure classical process work. I don't do anything else. I just have my experience, put it in less explainable and transparent. I can't see this octopus. Oh, such a beautiful thing. Let me try one more time. No, okay. Forget about it later. No. Okay, octopus disappeared.
The octopus is hiding.
Hiding, yeah. So what happened with this? No, cosmic octopus thing. When he was dancing it and more consciously, like being quite deep in altered states, but still having your meta communicator, I asked him what kind of talents this octopus has. He said, oh, you know what? It was very, when in this states, people give very strange answers. This octopus can find information anywhere and transmit information from here to there, like, Because what I knew about this boy, that he's not very good with information. He was a good athlete, but not a good student. So I always he was a good student for me, but I always like, you need to read more, you need to work with information better. After this, after acquiring this octopus, he started study much, like he took some courses, he studied more, he had got a new career. It was very interesting. Through the years, I see how this big journey, he had a big journey, right? Developed into new talent, a new ability. So, okay. So what we like, I can talk about it for a long time. Maybe it's time for me to stop and open microphone and answer some questions. I have a lot of information. I just want to say I have a lot of information. I gave you a little bit. We have this course scheduled with Processwork Institute. So I would like to share all practical information with you guys and involve more process worker and the process workers into this work. That's my intention for this presentation. And I can tell more stories, more examples, but maybe it's time to stop and see what kind of questions or response or feedback are here.
Just I want to just make one comment about that story. It sounds like the psychedelic experience, in a sense, turbocharged the secondary process.
Yeah, good question. Good formula. Yeah, basically, what happens in a psychedelics? In many cases, people go to the secondary process, but there are many. There are like, how to say, there volume of landscape of the secondary process could be small, could be big, could be vast. They can go much further than they expect, and they can digest. And this is a challenge sometimes. And that's why when we have a lot of this vision of alien realms, because it's undigestible. There are no dreamland in our normal reality for these experiences. And I like fantasy and I like alien realms, etc. But we also can use process work methods to go there and find something valuable, practical, which we can use here for creativity, career, personal development, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can give more stories, but I would like interesting to work with psychedelic community using work. Oh. I want to share some picture. My community, we can call it psychedelic. It's not a psychedelic community, but people who like psychedelic. And this is a picture which my daughter wrote while Zoom world, not world work, Zoom group process in my community. during COVID, right? So people have different experiences, even in this stormy water. And yeah, we had a very stormy water during COVID, but we'll have a really stormy water. We have stormy waters right now with wars going on. And we will have stormy waters in the future with a lot of changes, with AI coming and change a lot our environment. So
Here's a question, Dina.
yeah,
Let's see. It's in the chat. Nick.
yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
you hear me? Yes?
Yeah, I hear
Can you
you,
hear me, Dina?
Nick. Hey,
Okay.
Nick.
So this work, you're working with people after the ceremony. Are you working with people during the ceremony?
Okay, yes. So how I do work with people during the ceremony. First, I do this, I try to describe. I do with them intention session before the ceremony, and we find the secondary process, and we find sometimes we express the secondary process in dance, right? Dragon dance, or as I described, or in many cases it's transition dance from nice, smooth myself to something powerful and scary and back, the way the process work do. Then I have agreement with the person in the first part of the ceremony when people are still able to dance, and I like people moving at least in the first stage. I come to them and we dance together. So we kind of steer the experience towards secondary process, conscious secondary process. This is the one way how I work with them. Other way how I work with them, I do work with them with sounds. And this is combination of process work and shamanic work. But also knowing that I know the secondary process, they know the secondary process. So with this woman I described, right? Actually, she was quite conscious, and at some point I came to her and said, like sound dragon. And we're like, ah. So we practiced the secondary process with sound. It was a lot of fun.
In a sense, you're amplifying, actually.
Yes.
It's an
Also was
amplifying
very
type.
interesting why I'm talking about the ceremony. I had pretty advanced people and they were asking me question after ceremony. And using process work method, I could explain them. And I was navigating what has happened. Like she was asking me, and this woman is she leads art seminars. Her visual channel is her occupied channel. And she say, oh, Dina, I had so much gifts and it was amazing, but I didn't have any visuals. Why? I was dancing and feeling and having insight. I didn't have any visuals. So I know why. Because it's your occupied channel. And your secondary process went to unoccupied channel. So sometimes using this is also very good vocabulary and ideas to explain people what has happened, to make sense, right? So yes, I do use process work. I use it a lot on myself. First, like this is advanced practices, probably you need some training, but during ayahuasca, I do a lot of shape-shifting. I see something ugly which come in my way and I shapeshift and like, oh, interesting. Wow. You need practice for this, but it's possible. So shapeshifting, I mean, adding channels. Yeah. Also, I've seen my advanced students were playing process work during mushroom ceremonies. They were playing process work, which is each other, helping each other to. They do this. If you have trained community, they do their own practices.
Helping each other, what?
Oh yeah, like unfold something. Yeah, I remember like last summer, the women were like unfolding their feminine father and father using process work, movement, sound, imagination. Had a lot of fun. And
Right.
also integration after Processwork integration after like we talk and we create again. We created Processwork exercises they do at home to integrate the experience, because what happened, I talk more right now about psilocybin. They tell neuroscientists, they tell like after psilocybin ceremony, you have 2-3 weeks while your brain is still very open and soft. And you can create a lot of neural connections. So what happened basically during Processwork session, in my view, you create or fire new neural connection. Like if you like find this dragon, some neurons connect in some neural chains. So you have ability to consciously bring this way of behavior more powerful, more strong into your normal life. Then if you do it during the ceremony, it's maybe more strong, more deep, because your brain is very open to create new neural connections, and you can stay in it longer for a couple of hours. And then you need to do something after to train it, at least first couple of weeks, to bring this. So we have a dance to bring home. That's all derived from Processwork methods.
Dina, in the chat, there's 2 questions. There's a
Yes.
follow-up.
I don't see, so if you read for me, I can
Yeah.
go.
So Yolanda, if you want to come on video and ask more fully your question, just let us know.
Yeah. Or I
Would
can
you-
read. Let me try to read it. Where I can read it, I don't know.
Do you mind speaking, Yolanda?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, great. Yeah.
I'm actually
Try.
repeating a previous question. So I'm wondering if you use process-oriented skills also during the ceremony, or only
Yeah, I do.
for setting intention and integration. And if yes,
Okay.
how you exactly use them?
Okay. How exactly? I can give you some theory, but you need to, for Processwork, like why I love Processwork. The theory is not that complicated. You need to practice your muscles. You need to practice. So what I can tell you what I do personally, and I can tell you what I do with my students and clients. What I do personally, I do this, I call shape-shifting techniques, adding your channels, your movement and proprioceptions. That's what we do in Processwork.
Role switching also, it's called.
No.
Not-
Role switching is basically role switching. Yeah, maybe role switching, but okay, shape-shifting. You find something in front of your nose. Let me give you example. What kind of, okay. Fantasy example. Okay, let me see. From the past ceremony, the previous ceremony. I was working with one of my students on her, like with sound. And at some point, I felt extremely tired. And I don't do mushroom on all ceremonies, but this ceremony I was with some small portion of mushrooms. So I went, okay, guys, I need to work myself. And then I felt a lot of pain. I do have some pain in my body always, and this was so much pain was coming from my bones. And also very scary images of war. I'm from Ukraine, my community is highly affected by wars, and this is pain. This is very serious topic in my world right now. So I've seen images of wars and like these rockets flying, etc., and they were coming from my bones. So I need some training and some courage to turn into war spirit, to be the war.
So you
And I
help
did
people
this.
pick up, you're saying you help people pick up the experience and,
Yeah, I'm talking about my personal experience right now.
right, but you're
Just to,
saying within the experience of the psychedelic, using the psychedelic, you actually work to pick up the secondary
okay,
experience.
okay, how I can use it? Let me explain more detail. What I do with clients, I do preliminary sessions before the session, and we find an exercise sober. We find an exercise usually in the form of dance, not 100%. I have other methods, but dance sometimes is very acceptable. And then I come during session. We have also agreement, of course, that I'll come during session and we'll work together. And I come and we dance this dance, and I help them to go into details of this dance. The same agreement we can have that I come and work with voice. And also, we already have preliminary exercise. They know about the secondary process. This is the one thing, how I do it. Another thing, I have community of people who trained in process work. Me and other people. So they can do shape-shifting exercise right inside psychedelic journey, right? If they see something in their face which they don't like, they can shape-shift into it and experience and be conscious. That's why I was given this example of war. I become much more conscious of what war is, because I hate it. I'm scared of it. It makes me depressed. But also when I know more about it, I can use this power for something else, for maybe like bringing my input into the world to stop. So this session, this previous shape-shifting experience gave me a lot of new energy and power.
So what you're saying, Dina, is that you prepare beforehand so that you know what the
With
second,
clients, mostly, yes.
and then with sound and movement, both unoccupied channels, you access that within the experience itself and unfold.
Yeah, I help them. I come to them and help them to repeat it under
Unfold.
psychedelic influence, and then it makes their practice much deeper and effective. And I've seen a lot of fantastically effective results of such work. I can tell you stories like
Right.
people were
Thank you.
making breakthrough, right, like 1 or 2 weeks after journey. Because of the deep.
Dina,
Yeah.
can I come in, just because there's a couple more questions I want to make sure
Right.
you
Yes,
hear
sure.
them. And also,
Yeah.
Nick, you said you wanted to add something to the question we're on, and I wanted to.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, because my experience as a process worker, having done many ceremonies in Brazil, is my experience was that I'd go very, very deep for between 4 and 6 hours into a very deep trance state. And I wouldn't have wanted anybody to have worked with me, but I found my own process work skills help me to track and process what was coming. And as you say, deal with the most disturbing aspects. I found, process work was very good, helping me do that. But I presume if you have a client who goes into a very deep state, you have to have some agreement beforehand about your intervention. If they want intervention, but actually in that state they might have a different decision that they might not want intervention.
Okay.
So I guess you're very careful.
Details. That's why we have this September course with 5 classes where we can go into details how to do it. One thing is ideas, and another thing practice, right? What you're talking right now is more ayahuasca experiences, I assume, is very deep, long. People have tendency to go in a very deep trance state, and this is very like I would say, separate approach. What I was talking about psilocybin and not a big dosage. So we need to go into details. I can't say like I was doing right now, like coverage. But if you want to study it, you need to go step by step and say, okay, this is we do this. This is we do here. Pay attention on this. I have this knowledge. And yeah, of course, I wouldn't disturb person in the deep ayahuasca experience. I don't think. It's basically, it's not in the format of a ayahuasca trip to go and work on somebody, right?
Thank you.
Ayahuasca, I have a lot of stories about integrating difficult, intense experience of ayahuasca.
Thank you. Thank you. There's one more, I think, before, because we're coming to the end here. Should we go to isn't there one more question, Helene, didn't you say?
Yeah, there's actually 2 questions. How about I read them out? And there's also someone has raised their hand, Eka. So it's hard. There's many. This is a very interesting topic. So let me read the 2 questions. And Eka, do you have a further question? So Kaori asks, how do you support clients' awareness and meta-communicator in psychedelic applications where the clients seem to dive into deep altered states? That actually relates, I think, to Nick's question. Kirill.
Spiri, wait, let me answer. I want to say something about this. You know, while client already in a deep altered state, you can support only safety, good atmosphere, and support client process. But you can train. If it's not a one-time client, you can train the person to be more conscious and have ability to communicate in altered states. And also is more, how to say, atmosphere thing, meta communication thing. If you have your center, my center, which is concentrated and be conscious inside altered states, people maybe will have tendency to be more conscious. I don't know if I answered the question. That's my answer.
That's great. The next question was from Kirill, and Dina, you said that you would like to draw process workers to this work. Do you mean some kind of group work? That would be very interesting. That's from Kirill.
We have this moment, we have a course set up by Helene. And of course, I would love to teach more about this amazing topic. And I will put maybe this week, I'll put my description of this course. So it's set up on September 11. I'll be happy to see and share more of my knowledge. And also, I think during this course, I offer a private session.
And I think
As a group,
about,
maybe it's a good idea to form, maybe that would be one of the results. Or we can form a group, WhatsApp or WhatsApp chat with process workers / psychedelics, or maybe on your portal, Helene, right? I don't know what's the best technical decision, but I would love to have it, of course. Also,
Yeah,
I am
ongoing
interested
group.
in other people's experiences.
There's another question or a comment really from Ned. Ned, would you like to share yourself? Or I can read it out.
Yeah, I think I just unmuted. I did a psychedelic session in Beaverton, and it was very, deep and intense. And I think the current training of facilitators is really just to kind of hold the space and really allow the medicine to kind of do its work and not really interfere too much, to kind of manage it with a very wide space. But however, I really think on another hand that process work is I think one of the types of modalities I think that could be most effectively used in terms of really, I think, integrating the work at a deeper level, because I think a lot of talk therapy or whatever can be very heady. And I think with process work, you know, going back into the journey or the trip with it, you know, after the session with a process worker would be really, I think, I would just help to deepen it, I think. And I think it would be a good business opportunity for PWI in the sense that I think it's what I know about psychedelics and process work is that it would just go together so well, because what you have coming through in the experience is these much deeper kinds of processes that the person is connected to, all of a sudden they become fully open to in the psychedelic experience. And I think that you know, allowing that phenomena and those deeper processes to go once they become open and catalyzed through psychedelics is something that I think the Process Work and Process Work Institute could really shine with, and it's because of its capacity to facilitate and be open to the phenomenology and the creativity and spontaneity of opening up to these processes in the moment, going with the Tao, all these things that Arnie had talked about. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And I totally agree with you, and that's basic part of the message I'm bringing. I also want to say, like, yeah, we have psychedelic facilitated training right now. People go to this training, they obtain some kind of certificate, and this is good. And also, big line of my clients recently are people who from the areas they received the psychedelic facilitator certificate, they come to me to experience more. And I was surprised, psychologist, I was surprised with, they know a lot of safety, they know a lot of about ethics, they create an atmosphere, they do know something about integration, but they don't know how to, like, from my point of view, they're not trained because they don't know how to work with other channels than mind and analyzing. None of them knew how to move and dance and unfold different channels. So I'm like, this training is missing a lot of beautiful things which process work has.
Right, which is
And
what
maybe
you're offering, yes.
yeah, and maybe, yes, maybe we're a process worker, we should think about how to step into this field. This field is developing, and it will be developing, and it has a lot of money, and it has a lot of interesting possibilities. So it could be another door for process work community.
Thank you,
grow.
thank you for that, because just to say we've come to the end of our hour, and we do have to close. It was very interesting. Thank you so much, Dina,
Thank you.
for your experience and sharing your experience, and everybody who's come and your, you know, what you brought, and very much appreciated. I guess, Helene, are you going to post ways to continue this conversation, the learning? Is that possible because we need to end?
Yeah, thanks, Rhea. What a great invitation. Absolutely. We'll be posting the recording in our Learn Now space. So if you have further thoughts after, you know, this session, you can make a comment and the conversation can continue. Definitely want to encourage you all to, if you want actual deepened skill training, this upcoming course with Dina is going to be amazing, I think. We put the link in the chat. And it sounds like, Dina, you might be open to some other kind of way of continuing to have conversation about this topic. So everyone who's
Have a
RSVP
chat
will get an
where
email.
we can chat about this and
Yeah.
exchange our ideas, and I'll be happy to lead this chat and see what's going on. I'm working on a bigger program on psychedelic facilitator training with some collaborators. So, of course, I'm interested in other people input and information, etc. I'll be happy to do it. Also, I'm pretty sure it's not only me who does this research from Processwork Institute. So
Yeah,
we
no,
can join our knowledge and efforts.
thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. It was a big step for me to present in Processwork Institute, and I see many of you tomorrow on Arnie Transition celebration, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
And thank
Bye,
you very much.
everybody. Thank you, Dina. That was
Mhm.
awesome.
Thank you.
See you all soon.
Mm. Take care, be well.